Andy Shen is always working on new projects. This here is the Shendrones Thicc, and one of the problems with it is that it uses these giant 7-inch blades that are kind of scary to be around. So we are trying to find a way to make it more safe, or at least relatively more safe. And the obvious answer is bumpers. Bumpers are kind of a dumb implementation of ducts, which actually increase the performance of the thrust that comes out of your machine. So let's just go all the way and make ducts. Previously we've used this, the Shendrones Squirt, which is an amazing product for ducted flying with a GoPro, but it's not big enough to carry like a big heavy cinema camera. Andy has spent some time figuring out a way to duct the Shendrones Thicc, and as a result has sent me these monstrosities. This is a Shendrones Squirt. This is the duct for the Thicc. It's huge. Like, I can't even believe it. It's also kind of like this nice little top hat feel. This is gonna be a great thumbnail. So we've got to figure out how to get this duct mounted on the Shendrones Thicc and then get it tested out. So this is what he sent me in the box. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 massive 3D printed ducts and some new carbon fiber bits and bobs. These presumably are what we're going to mount the duct to, and then some more screws and standoffs. So gotta figure out how to put all this together. So the way that this is designed is that there's this separate plate here that the motor is mounted on. So you can see that there's like a full-size carbon arm here, and then there's this separate plate that this motor is mounted on. These pieces that Andy has sent are designed to replace that part. So we've got to remount the motor basically to this new chicken foot looking piece, and then we're going to be ready to go. So this is what it will look like down inside the duct once we've got it assembled the right way. So let's move over to the bench and get these installed. Okay, actually we don't want all this stuff in the way right now. So let's just start with this motor here. So we want this piece to mount like this, with that little fork pointing out like that. See that there's 1, 2, 3. So we gotta mount the motor like that. And cinch them all down. This, put it back on. And voila. So I wouldn't want to have to do this very often, to swap between that plate and this plate, but right now I'm not really seeing a reason why you couldn't just leave these on and then pop the ducts on and off. Even though this is like slightly less than ideal, I don't see why you couldn't just leave this plate on here and then just have the props on there anyway, but we'll see. So let's see about getting these ducts on here. So right now I'm just putting the standoffs into the designated spots. I'm just pushing them all the way down into the little sleeves. There we go. Now we should be able to slide this in on top, down nice and tight, flip her over, and put these screws in the bottom. And voila! Got a massive duct. Holy cow. I still can't get over the difference between the Squirt duct and that. It's bigger than the Squirt alone. I've grabbed a few different size props here to see what's going to fit. These are some old T-Motor 5-inch props. Don't quite fit on the top, maybe on the bottom, because it's wider at the bottom. Ooh. Pretty close. It's not perfect, but these are Vanover Edition Azure props. Oh, that's like perfect. Okay, so that's definitely what we're gonna use for the bottom. It's not, it could be a little tighter in there, but I mean, I'm really happy with that so far without fiddling. I'll figure out maybe some tighter clearances in there. So we just gotta figure out what's gonna work in the top of this. I was thinking that these dowel folding props might actually fit in here because they're a little bit smaller. They say 5.1 inch, so we'll see. Well, it's not perfect, but actually it might solve itself because it will swing and then it'll swing to the maximum width that it can. Huh, I wonder if that's a good solution for that. I don't really know. Okay, so this one's ready. Now we just gotta repeat that 4 times, so we're gonna get right to that. Okay, we are going to try to get these props to eat themselves up a little bit again. Don't do this at home. I'm using like a power supply that is current limited, so if this thing tries to take off, it will just shut down. But yeah. Wow, that works so well. They're all clean now. I mean, they're the perfect length. Awesome. Now we'll put the bottom props on, which we're just gonna use these Vanover Edition 5.1 inch. They got some extra meat to them compared to the, oh gosh, I gotta get this right. They could be a little bit longer, but this will work. I'm just double checking the direction here. This is the hardest thing, is to get the motors tight once they're in ducts. Okay. That's a ducted thick. Let's get it in the air, test it out. I'm going to set a normal 5-inch drone here next to it just so you know the scale of what you're looking at flying around in my garage. That is deafening. That can't be right. That is so loud. I can't even describe. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is payload test it. These two batteries together weigh 1,700 grams. And that's just shy of the max payload that we recommend for carrying the red Komodo. So let's see if that works on this beast. It's a lot of weight. And I'm not going to plug them in. I'm just going to have it as dead weight on the bird. This is just an absurd amount of weight. Oh my gosh. That's not even, I don't even have batteries on that yet. This is supposed to work? I have very many doubts that this is actually going to fly. Sorry. It's just, I didn't realize it was going to be that loud. Holy crap. At least 3 neighbors just took a look to see what that was. Alright, no more flying this here. Literally not once have any of my neighbors ever been like, what's going on out here? They weren't mad, they were just like, what's going on? And this is the thing that put it over the edge. It is absurd how loud this is. Like, I can't even comprehend. But, like, honestly, it flew pretty well. I mean, it was heavy. Like, it flew, like, at, like, 60% throttle, something like that. But my goodness, is that thing a screamer. Ugh. I checked the motors as soon as I landed. They were all nice and cool still. So it wasn't like it was, like the motors were hot or anything. Battery is definitely a little bit warm, but the motors were all cool. So like, even though it's screaming so loud, it's not like it's like over pulling the motors or anything. It just is loud. That's really interesting. My goodness. I even did a barrel roll with it, for crying out loud. I guess technically 1,700 grams it flies. Let's see what this battery's at. Battery's at storage charge. I think we were maybe in the air for a minute and a half, if that. So that pulls some battery, that's for sure. Wait. So now I'm confused. I feel like I've done everything right? I've put the ducts on, I've cut the props down to the right length, and I'm using the right motors, like the same thing that I would normally have used on a 7-inch thick build. Andy, what's going on?
So it sounds like you're having trouble with yours flying. I guess it only carries 1.7 kilos, and it struggled with that. And there's Mochi. Someone wants to play. I was able to carry 2.1 kilos and fly for a minute and a half with only 2,600 milliamp hours. So I think it's a combination of a couple of things. You're using your 7-inch motors, and I actually got special motors just for this build. So mine are 1,800 kV. And also I cut down my lower props because the proper duct design is that the sides are supposed to flare out. So the top prop is 5 inches, while the lower one ends up being a little bit more than 5. So I cut down some HQ743s. On top of having more aggressive props, I also have a right KV and tighter tolerance to the duct. So I think those are your issues. So I'm gonna cut down some props for you. So they should be more aggressive and have a tighter fit. As far as the KV, you know, I see how you wanna have the same motors all the time. So you don't have to, you can use one rig to do everything. So hopefully, you know, the props being more aggressive will make up for your lower KV. So we'll give that a try and see how it goes.
Oh, okay. So you use a different KV with very, very specifically cut props, and that's why I might not be getting the exact performance that I need. Alright, so hopefully in the next version of this video, I'll be able to have it perform at the level that we kind of expect it to. Alright, we are... Oh, just smashed myself in the face with that. On our way to the field to actually try flying this thing out, where it's not going to be super disruptive to the neighbors. But yeah, so we got to get out, go to a spot where we can actually try it. And yeah, this thing's a monster. Okay, got the drone, Insta360, we got a battery already on there. Controller, Googles, plug her up. It's a little windier than is probably great for this thing, but gotta do what you gotta do. It's gotta be able to fly in all conditions, right? So let's get it in the air. Holy crap, that thing is loud. Other than being absurdly loud, it actually flew pretty alright. Like, there's a good bit of wind. Like, you can look at these flags over here. But this thing wasn't getting battered around too much. It kind of picked its angle and locked in. Stayed pretty well on target. I didn't feel like there was a lack of power. Obviously, I don't have as big of a payload as I should. My Blackmagic Pocket Cinema is on, I sold it to Benoit, so it's been shipped over to France, and I'm waiting on getting my new camera, which is the Panasonic BGH1, then maybe a Komodo sometime after that. But I don't have like cinema camera to put on here, so I just figured let's get some footage with the Insta360, which maybe aired out. I've never seen it just be black, like have a red light on there like that. Genuinely impressed with how that flew. I thought it was going to be a dog, but it just, I mean, in terms of like Cinewhoop flying, it just locked in. Like, feel that wind? Holy cow. See my hair below in the wind? But yeah, that is, that's interesting. So I'm going to see what's up with this Insta360 and then get one more flight in just in case we didn't actually record that, and maybe try to get some DVR as well. All right, here we go for flight 2. I didn't have an extra SD card for the DVR, so sorry about that. But you'll get the onboard footage. And apparently the Insta360 didn't record the previous flight, so hopefully it actually saves this one. Yeah, so I obviously don't have a cinema camera, so that's going to be the next big step, is to put that on there. The BGH1 will definitely fly on here because it's only 700 grams or something like that. We tested it up to 1700. But yeah, again, really impressed with how it flew, even in spite of these windy conditions. Like you can see, I did just this slow-mo like end shot, and it just is like, try to just get into the wind and stay in the air. But you know what? For what it is so far, actually pretty excited. I know I'm using the wrong KV motors. Thanks Andy Shen for shouting that out, that I'm using too low of a KV for these 5-inch motors. I'm doing something only like 27,000 RPM, where I should be hitting something like 40,000, something like that. I definitely have room to improve with this, like things that I can change. I think that there's definitely a possibility that I will be able to just use it like it is with just the ducts, and be able to add the ducts on and off whenever I need to be able to do this, and then put 7-inch for non-ducted shots. Hopefully we can find somewhere to do some stuff indoors, put on a BGH1, maybe get a Stead XP on there, and really get like that perfect Cinewhoop setup, rather than just kind of having it raw out of body like this. I'm really excited with what I'm seeing so far. We obviously haven't taken this to the extreme ends of what this project could be, so I think you should be paying attention for a part 2. But in the meantime, stay flying.